Welcome back to Insight. We are discussing Chinese Premier's visit to India. So far, 8 agreements have been signed between India and China. Ambassador Daya, I'll continue with you. So far as 8 agreements have
One point that this is a new leadership in China. The Prime Minister has come here. The leadership normally remains for 10 years. So it's a good beginning that the 8 agreements have been signed, and at least prima facie all the issues seem to have been covered, whether it is water management, whether it is border, and ultimately it is for the what is the intention behind it, how sincerely they are implemented, if there is some level of trust which has been established between our leadership and the new Chinese leadership, that would be a very, very positive signal. Having said that, let me say that on trade front, I have lots of misgivings. We have the trade target of by 2015 of $100 billion.
Right.
And if the present trends continue, it will be $75 billion of export by China, or less than $25 billion by us. Because we are just not competitive, let us face it. Whatever manufactured stuff we produce, we are not competitive, and we face the same problem everywhere. So we can't really blame China beyond a point. They must, of course, open up pharmaceutical sector of the GDP, etc. But another point which I would like to raise is that now China has almost $60 billion worth of projects in India. They have under execution, half of them have been executed. Now, ultimately, it is a question of trust, because it is the same China which stopped supply of rare earths to Japan when there was a little bit of tension with Japan.
Right.
So can our power industry, can our telecom industry be hostage to the Chinese whims and fancies? We can import toys, we can import bicycles, we can import shoes, we can import clothes. But there is a line which has to be drawn, and our security establishment, our leadership has to be very careful that till this this trust deficit is adequately and to our satisfaction bridged by China, we should not find ourselves in a position of being hostage to their evil intentions if they arise in future.
All right.
With their niche products, niche sectors, and they are not competing with each other. To take India and China relations to the next strategic level, which the Chinese talk about, next strategic level, the focus now is on economy, forgetting border. And that would be to develop niche sectors and not competing with each other. Like we can open some sectors to Chinese investments over there. The key word is investment, which can bridge a substantial amount of that gap. China should also make a political choice to open select sectors for Indian industries, so that
Minister in 2009 that the Chinese were coming here on business visa, although that they were they were working here, but they were coming on business visa actually, and so they were violating the visa norms, and therefore we had put a stop on that and sending those workers back, and they were found that they were coming on business visa but working in telecom sector. There are companies who like Huawei. We had reservations about Huawei in the past because of their links with a group, which is have state link. Obviously, they have state links, and they have PLA links also, strong PLA links also, actually. So we have to look into these sectors. These are critical sectors, and tomorrow, I know an Indian firm which are going for power equipment from China because they are cheaper. But then, if tomorrow there is a crisis and they decide not to repair them. What happened in West Bengal, during when the communist CPIM in its power, they had set up the company called Dongfeng had set up units there, and none of the units were successful, and they wanted the unit to send back to China. So tomorrow there is a power crash like it happened last year. Will you send back all the power equipment back to China for repair? They don't want to share technology for repairing in India. Does Ford says that you send back car? And I think we should factor those issues also into before going all out to replace all with the Chinese equipment.
But again, this points to the trust deficit that
There-
Ambassador
that points
Tayal
to-
just
yeah,
mentioned that
absolutely.
exists between the two countries.
Absolutely. There is a trust deficit, and while our manufacturing sector may not be aggressive enough, not only for China, for other, Indian businessmen are very conservative not to take, even in Afghanistan, after the government had underwritten them, they are not taking the full advantage in the Hazarajat mines, So while our manufacturing sector has this issue of being conservative, being slow, it is also on the Chinese side that, they should try and remove this mistrust, why, what are the Indian reservations, the security concerns,
Right.
Yeah.
Particularly the sensitive
Particularly
sectors like
telecom and power are
Right.
sensitive sectors. If tomorrow a telecom company, what is the guarantee that telecom company, because of the links with certain people in the PLA, what are the links that there is no back end, being
to give a boost to trade ties, looking at the delegation that accompanies Mr.
The fact that Premier Lee is coming with an 80 or 100 member business delegation is a positive signal, because this has obviously been done according to diplomatic protocol with the agreement of the Indian side. That means there are positive plans in the cards to take the economic relations, the trade relations forward. And among the 8 agreements which have been signed, you can see that commerce and trade features prominently in that.
Right.
Again, there is urban development. We have a lot to learn from China about urban development. As we all know, that China is by far the country with the largest number of cities, and anyone who goes to Chinese cities, they are really impressed. So we do have a lot to learn from China on that aspect. The other
Perhaps they have to grow out of simple buyer-seller relationship and become an investor in India, first in non-sensitive sectors,
Okay.
and then perhaps in other sectors.
All right, with that, it's time for us to take yet another break in the program. Stay with us. We'll be back with the final segment of the show. Welcome back to Insight. We are discussing India's relations with China in the light of the visit of the Chinese Premier to India. Deepanjan, I'll continue with you. Now, following his visit to India, Mr. Lee is going to head to Pakistan, where a new government is taking charge very soon. And Mr. Lee also represents a new establishment
Right.
in
leadership take over, and after the new leadership in Pakistan has taken over, Pakistan is China's all-weather friend, and therefore there will be no change in the Chinese policy towards Pakistan. The only worry area for China, with regard to Pakistan, which is still not making major noises, but which is regarding terrorism, right? Cross-border terrorism. There are obviously reports and which are factual that the rebels in the Uyghur region have links with the Tehrik-e-Taliban in Pakistan, and as well as other in the region of FATA. And in Balochistan province, where the Chinese engineers have been attacked and therefore the Gwadar port has also been non-functional because Chinese doesn't want to take risks. Their engineers have been kidnapped in the past as well. They have not made major noises about it, but in future, particularly with regard to the Uyghur, where there is a rebellion against China, against Beijing in a sense, and the cross-border linkages of that, that is going to be the major Chinese headache. This is one area where India and China in a larger geopolitical context can come and cooperate, like we do it on climate change issues, we do it in BRICS. This is one area where there is a possibility of a cooperation coming in future. Given although that, keeping in mind the fact that China is never going to dump Pakistan, but whether China can send out some message to Pakistan, right? Because Chinese are doing a lot of work in Afghanistan. They see Afghanistan in the post 2004 or the supply of defense equipment to China, or in terms of the missile technology to Pakistan, or even in terms of the nuclear supplies group, where China is fighting Pakistan's case in nuclear supply group, in now making noises in and have been joined by a few others also as well in the nuclear supply group. Surprisingly, the Japan, I'm told that in one of the meetings, and that is coming. The nuclear cooperation between Pakistan and China is a major Indian headache, where surprisingly and conspicuously, I don't find the West ever criticizing China for their non-proliferation record. Obviously their own needs of the support for the Chinese You know, because after the growth in the Chinese economy, West turns a blind eye to a lot of things, including you know the human rights record of China, as well as the symbiosis of the Sino-Pak relationship, particularly in the nuclear sector. So things won't change. You know, Pakistan is China's all-weather friend. It will continue to be an all-weather friend. Whether Nawaz Sharif come and go, whether tomorrow there is a coup.
China is extremely important. I would say that for China, perhaps Pakistan is not that important, number one. Number two, a section of Pakistan society in the army, ISI, all the jihadist elements are implacably hostile to India, and they want to harm India. I would say that in China, it's not so. Similarly in India, there is no section of society which really wants some harm to China or thinks ill of China.
Right.
So we just accept it, but in different ways. If Pakistan becomes a normal democratic society, even we can deal with it. So there, in fact, India and China can work together to advise Pakistan.
Been the other two, had China understood that it's the system which is important rather than the money, rather than the guns, then Pakistan would not have been in this situation today. So keeping that scenario in mind, I myself think that India has no option but to build on our capabilities to keep the hazard potential out. And as far as the 1000 megawatt nuclear power plant, I think it's Chashma 5 which is coming up. It's entirely possible, although I may sound a bit conjectural on this matter, it's entirely possible that this is a trade-off between US and China because of the NSG waiver to India.
All right.
So,
in a sense, but we have our concerns if what kind of border infrastructure comes up in Nepal, and you know what kind of you know their presence obviously in any neighboring country in terms of the people to people. You can't stop it, but you know what kind of infrastructure they build and the hazards they pose to us will obviously have to be seen with a
all
pinch
right.
of
Well,
salt.
we've reached the end of the program. A quick word from you, Ambassador Tayal. Is this visit going to give an impetus to India-China ties?
Certainly, and I hope they come to some agreement on Afghanistan, because that is really a very critical moment of history where the country is looking for support.
They are entering a decisive phase
India
now.
and China can work together.
All right, well, on that note, it's time for me to wrap up the discussion here. I'd like to thank all my guests for coming to the studios. It was a pleasure having you all here. Mr. Das, Ambassador Tayal and Deepanjan. That's it for now in this edition of Insights. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.